people of Earth and beyond, you never know. My name's Rachel and I'm here today to go over our part 2 of our fitness Q&A. Last week I did part 1 and we went over some of the basic questions on how to kickstart your fitness journey. It was about a 20-minute long video. If you haven't had a chance to look it over, I definitely cover some really awesome information in that video. So if you hadn't had a chance already, I'll link it in the description below. Other than that, we're just going to jump right into our fitness Q&A part 2. Alrighty, so assuming you guys have already caught up on the fitness Q&A part 1, we're just going to dive into part 2's questions. I received questions from all of you guys through social media platforms, my Gmail, texting, anything really. And I'm more than happy to answer your questions, but I'm figuring out a more efficient way to get this information out to you guys via YouTube. So this is my 3rd ever official YouTube video, so let's just dive right in. So I get this question a lot, cardio before or after your workouts. So I personally prefer to do any types of cardio before I lift, because by the time I'm done lifting, I'm usually so exhausted that the last thing I want to do is jump on the Stairmaster. So if you are in a position where you think you need to do cardio or you enjoy cardio, if you're one of those people who actually loves to run, I'm not one of those people, but if you are one of those people who love to run, I highly suggest getting out in nature and getting outside, getting some fresh air and running. But if you're like me and you hate to run, don't put yourself through that if you don't feel as though you have to. I basically put more energy into lifting weights so that I don't have to do cardio anymore. I honestly can't remember the last time I was on the Stairmaster, but this is just a little tidbit from my own personal fitness journey. But to answer your guys' question of before or after, I suggest before, and if you're going to do it for 10-15 minutes at a light to medium pace. Try to increase the pace as you continue. If you have music, that'll actually help you pass the time faster, or if you have a good book, you can just read and get it over with. Basically, the treadmill is nice, but you can get just as much of a cardio workout on the Stairmaster if you're going fast enough. You know what I mean? If you skip steps and you're kicking ass and you're actually putting some effort into going up those flights of steps, it's just like running on the treadmill, but you don't actually have to run. I hate running. I used to run track in high school. I was a short distance sprinter, and they would try to get me to run the mile, and I was like, excuse me? My dog Harley is barking, so excuse her. Anyways, so cardio stuff, if you feel like you need to do it, it's really something that you do if you feel like you need to shed some extra layers or tone up something. It's really something that you do in the spring and summer, when you're wearing a bikini and you're in front of people and you want people to see your body. If you love to do it through winter, more power to you, man. I'm just saying, it's not a necessity, but if you enjoy it, please do it. Next question. Do you do yoga or Zumba? So I've never taken a Zumba class in my entire life, but my friend Pippa, she's a Zumba instructor here in Westminster, Colorado. Shout out to you, Pippa. I love you, girl. She is freaking awesome. She runs the classes out there. I promise I'm going to make it out to a class here soon. I'm just trying to I guess get the courage up to just go and do it, because I'm not a dancer. I can't dance. Ask anyone I know. Ask my fiance, ask my mom, ask my friends, ask my gym cats. You'll see me try to dance and you're just like, Rachel, what the fuck are you doing? So if I went to Zumba, it would just be hilarious. I might just do it just for the fun of it, to be honest. Anyways, if you like to dance and you get a kick out of hip-hop, Latin style music, and you can get in the groove with a group of people who are in the same groove, then you might actually enjoy Zumba class. That's actually a really good way to tone up your booty, good way to tone up overall cardiovascular skills, to get sweaty. You leave really sweaty. I've seen lots of selfies from Pippa. She's like, I've just done Zumba. So that's kind of the only experience that I have of Zumba, is just kind of an outsider's perspective. So like I said, guys, in the first video, if you're curious about a style of training, try it out. Figure out if you like it, and if you don't like it, don't do it. If you figure out that it's something you enjoy, then continue to do it. Zumba can be fun for, I mean, I've never really heard of guys going to Zumba class, but I guess dudes, if you're into that, do it. Chicks, bring all your chick friends, and I heard it's like a really good, like, fun girls' night, I guess, at the gym. Yoga. So we're gonna switch the subject to the yoga. I grew up in a Montessori school in Golden, Colorado, and instead of PE class, they gave us yoga class. So we had a yoga instructor come into our classroom. We undid our yoga mats, and for an hour, we would just flow. And so from a very young age in middle school, I was taught like the sacred practices of yoga. So for me, it's more of like a spiritual and mental thing, as well as like a human bodily thing. Like it's really good for you to stretch out and like get your flexibility and your balance. You really utilize a lot of your core in a lot of the yoga balances and stretches. It's good to stop and breathe and get away from your work, get away from your friends, get away from your family. You go to yoga class to like escape. You go to yoga class to relax. It's truly like an uplifting experience. Like I suggest doing yoga at least once a week to anyone, like to any human being that I come in contact with. I'm like, you should do yoga like once a week. So my yoga days are Sundays. Ideally, you do yoga every day. That's like an everyday routine thing that you add in. At the gym, before my workouts, I probably devote 5 or 10 minutes to just like stretching in general, but a lot of the stretches are based from yoga poses, but I'm not in my flow. Like I'm not in my zen, so I really wouldn't consider it yoga. Yoga is where you take yourself out of a gym setting. You're either in nature, you're in the yoga studio, you're at home, you're in your own space, you're listening to some nice music, or you're maybe not listening to any music, I don't care, or whatever you like. I like to listen to music sometimes. And you just kind of stretch. You do what your body tells you to do, because it knows what feels good, and it's like it knows like it needs a little stretch here and there, so it'll adjust itself, and you just kind of go with the flow, right? If you have no experience with yoga, I highly, highly, highly suggest that you check it out. 24 Hour Fitness has yoga classes every day. TrueFit has classes, I think, like 4 or 5 times a week. And other gyms, I'm not really sure, but you just kind of have to go and check it out. There are yoga studios in the area. There's yoga studios in absolutely every city. So if you're interested, just go check it out. Watch videos on YouTube. Check out like Instagram people. There's really inspirational yoga like public figures out there. I won't mention them because I have more than 20 that I follow. So I just have too many favorites. Like I said, guys, it all depends on your style of training, but I focus on weight training, but I also like to take care of my vessel through yoga. It's a really important practice, and I hope that you find the importance of it after you try it. Like once you try it and you like it, you're gonna be like, I understand what Rachel was talking about now. So I kind of talked about yoga a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I can probably continue it in another video eventually, but this is the Q&A. So we're gonna move on to the next question. So Rachel, what are your favorite 4 meals? So like, I base this off of the question that I get all the time. What is your favorite breakfast? What is your favorite lunch? Rachel, what's your favorite pre-workout meal? What's your favorite post-workout meal? Like, basically, what's your favorite 4 meals? So, breakfast, I really enjoy oatmeal. Any type of oatmeal, you just kind of put it on the stove, and I personally use almond milk. I can't remember the last time that I used cow's milk for anything, including like cereal or drinking it. I have a problem just like the thought of cow's milk, like in ice cream. I can get away with it because it's frozen and it tastes delicious, but when you're drinking milk, you're just like, this is weird, like I'm drinking another creature's like, anyways. So I drink almond milk now. It has the exact same benefits as any other type of milk does, and it tastes a little bit better too. So you just put like a cup of that on the stove with a half a cup of oats, and you put it on medium heat, let it boil. Turn the heat down, let it simmer a little bit, cover it, and let the oats completely like absorb all the almond milk. At this point, I usually put like a little bit of Himalayan salt into my oatmeal. You can't taste it, and it's good for like your sodium intake. So sodium is important. So like I'll tell you in every single meal, but you should salt all your food. If you're drinking at least a gallon of water a day and you're getting a decent amount of sodium, your body will filter out any unnecessary water. So any water that you're holding in your face or your body, like your stomach, your legs, it will filter out and you'll be left kind of vascular. I've noticed recently that like when I work out my arms, I freak myself out because I'm like, holy shit, there's a vein. Oh my god, where is it coming from? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just like one of those things that kind of helps you shed extra fat to water retention. So anyway, back to the oatmeal. I have the Himalayan salt in the oatmeal. I grab a scoop of whey protein, preferably vanilla. You literally throw it right into the oatmeal and it'll dissolve in the oatmeal to the point where you can't even tell that there's protein in your oatmeal. So it's technically protein oatmeal if you think about it. You can spice it up at this point, do whatever you want. If you like fruit, like add blueberries, like bananas, strawberries. If you like orange juice, I like to have orange juice in the mornings. I also drink black coffee every single day. Like that's a for sure thing. I have black coffee by like 11 o'clock every day, at least 2 cups. That's been my thing for probably 4 years. Like high school got me started on coffee, guys, and I'm like a little caffeine machine. It's bad. But if you like coffee, decrease your sugar and like just take out the creamer, take out the sugar actually. Like it's just for flavor. It's just for your own personal enjoyment. So if you can muster up the courage to just take your like sugar and like creamer out of your coffee every day, and you stop like going to Starbucks and getting those like sugary frappuccinos. I know they're delicious, guys. I fucking love those things, but I can't remember the last time I had a caramel frappuccino from Starbucks, and I used to get those things every day, so you can't even understand the struggle. Anyway, I'm getting emotional over Starbucks. Do you understand? Anyway, so I'm just kidding. So anyways, guys, if you want to see actual results in the gym, stay away from sugary coffee beverages in the morning. Stay away from sugary coffee beverages ever. Like, it's just sugar-filled shit, basically. Drink black coffee if you need caffeine. Along with, if you don't like oatmeal, there are tons of other options for breakfast, but then again, guys, I'm just telling you my favorite meals. So I follow a staple diet, so I literally try to eat the same thing every day around the same time because my body appreciates simplicity. So if I'm eating the same foods, it already knows how to digest it, and so it's figuring out a better way to absorb the nutrition because it's already so used to it and you're not surprising it with like this other shit every day, you know what I mean? It's really hard to explain, but the human body is smarter than we give it credit for. So it appreciates simplicity, and I promise that'll help you out in your overall progress. If you just follow that staple diet thing, you'll just see results. You'll just be like, wow, that was easy. It doesn't like confusion. So like if you eat different meals for every day, it's just like overly confused at the different textures and types of foods that you're giving it. So we'll move on to lunch. So I eat lunch probably around like 1 o'clock every day. And my favorite all-time lunch is chicken and brown rice with asparagus or broccoli. One of those 2 green things. But yeah, that's an easy lunch. Like, you can do anything with chicken. Let me repeat that. You can do anything with chicken except deep fry it. Don't deep fry it if you want to see results in the gym. Don't eat deep fried chicken at the beginning. For the first 6 to 8 months, no deep fried fucking chicken. But any other type of chicken, like teriyaki chicken, grilled chicken, baked chicken, stove-cooked chicken with onions and garlic, whatever you want. Onions and everything on chicken is delicious. Basically, between white rice and brown rice, I choose brown rice because the only difference between the two is how fast they're digesting. So brown rice will keep you fuller longer. White rice is going to digest faster into fast energy. So basically, if you want white rice, that's fine. But just so you know, it's the same thing. It's just bleached brown rice. You're eating bleached brown rice. It's the only thing that makes it white. You know what I mean? So if you can choose to have the less processed version of foods, always choose the less version of processed versions of foods. Like, if you can eat organic whole foods for the rest of your life, I would wish that upon every person on the planet. But white rice is processed. So if you have a choice, do brown rice. Depending on your size, I go for like a cup of brown rice. That's my carbs. So your brain craves carbs. If you don't give yourself carbs, you're cranky as fuck and you're hangry. But the second you eat carbs, you're not hangry anymore because your brain has gotten what it's wanted. But if you only eat protein and healthy fats, you will be starving all the time, even though you're eating, because your brain's looking for carbs. Those are little like things I learned during my last prep for my first show. But that's a completely different story. So my pre-workout favorite meal is sweet potatoes and tilapia. Lately sweet potato fries have been like my go-to because they're cute little like potato fries and they're crunchy and they're soft on the inside, and sweet potatoes are a superfood. If you were stuck on an island and you only had sweet potatoes to eat for the rest of your life, you'd still live to be like at least 80 without, if you were healthy, like if you didn't, like, you know what I mean? You could live off of sweet potatoes, okay? They're macro and micro deliciousness. So those are my favorite pre-workout, like carb, especially if you're doing leg day or back day. You definitely want to have a more carb-dense meal right before the gym because your muscles use carbs to like burn fuel to use for energy. That's one of the questions on here I think I might just jump to, but I'm going to go back to that whole thing about my favorite meals. So basically, I was explaining how if you're doing leg day or back day, like a big muscle group, how you want to eat a more carb-dense meal right before the gym. If you can think of carbs, that's going to be like brown rices, breads. There's lots of forms of carbs. You just have to look at the nutrition label and it'll tell you how many carbs are in a certain like product. And basically, I don't want to give you guys certain numbers because that's a nutritionist's job to take your like weight, height, and like calculate your perfect macros. If you intuitively eat and like once you're stuffed and you know you're stuffed, you just stop eating, then over time you can train your stomach to grow or shrink. So you can kind of like mentally control, like, I know this sounds weird guys, it's a thing. You can kind of mentally control your intuitive eating to still be able to grow gains, like grow muscle, but not necessarily grow like unhealthy fats around like your stomach or like legs or anything like that. So food is fuel. If you can think of yourself and your stomach as a train, and this is the train engine, and you know that guy that shovels the coal into the train engine's like compartment where all that fire is, he's shoveling the coal into the flames, and as he's doing that, it's burning hotter. So the fire is burning hotter as he's adding more coals, which means that the train is now working harder and now going faster. So you are the train, the food is the coal. So the more carbs and protein and healthy macros you're eating and the harder you're working at the gym, the more progress you're going to see. That's probably the easiest way that I could explain it to anyone is through that train reference thing. If you're trying to lose weight and you're starving yourself to lose weight, you're doing it wrong. Your body will hold on to anything it can to survive if it thinks that you're starving itself. So if you're giving it the foods that it needs, it'll start to trust you and it'll start to build this like trusting relationship between you and food, and it'll start to deliver gains. I know that like this is like an equation for millennials to understand, but I'm sure there's other scientific terms to explain all this. I'm definitely uneducated in those like textbook terms or whatever, but I'm just a gym cat who's sharing my passion, who's sharing my fitness journey with you all, and jumping to right back to that my favorite 4 meals thing. So I already explained my favorite pre-workout, my favorite post-workout meal, so this is after the gym. You want to eat at least within 60 minutes of working out, because at that point your muscles are shredded up and they're in pain and they're sore and they're just looking for any type of nutrients to go and fill those little shreds that you've now created at the gym. So at the gym, you're literally torturing yourself. At the gym, you're tearing open your muscles. That's what happens when it's like pumped up and flexed like this. Blood is rushing to the area and like expanding. So at home, the food is going to go right back into those little crevices that you just made, and fill it out. Like, that's a fun little way to think of it. But your muscles is like the cement and the food is like the bricks. So that's kind of like a good way to explain it too. After the gym, I love to either have steak, and this is like if I have like a good week at work or something and I can get steak for my food prep, I'll get steak, and I love steak. So steak and carrots with like, oh gosh, if you ever heard of protein pasta? It's by Barilla. It's the classic like spaghetti angel hair pasta company that every King Soopers carries. When you walk into the pasta aisle, you see all the blue boxes. That's Barilla. The one yellow box. I'm telling you guys, it's the one yellow box at King Soopers in the pasta aisle is protein pasta. It has 17 grams of protein per serving, along with, I think it's 47 grams of carbs per serving. Don't quote me on that because I haven't looked at it in a while, but it has like a really amazing like divvy up of macronutrients for you. So every day after the gym, I always make sure I have protein pasta, whether it's with steak or fish or chicken or whatever, but protein pasta is definitely my favorite. If you like Prego spaghetti sauce, get that stuff. If you're in a hurry and you don't want to cook for yourself late at night, just whip up some protein pasta, throw your Prego spaghetti sauce on top, and you have a pretty macronutrient-rich meal right there just waiting for you. You can have it with a salad or like with garlic bread or whatever you want. But those are my 4 favorite meals. So 4 is total. Now, if you're like me and you like to snack late at night before bed, oh yeah, you know who you are, guys. We're the midnight snackers. Okay, I get fucking hungry at like 11 o'clock every night. So hungry that I could like kill my fiance, and he knows that. So I go upstairs and I grab my favorite cereal, which just so happens to be Captain Crunch, and I pour out, like maybe a cup of cereal. I put it in a bowl. I grab a glass. I pour out 8 ounces of almond milk, and I put 1 scoop of vanilla whey protein into the milk, and I mix it up. I pour it over the cereal while it's like already dissolved, so that you don't have to worry about getting chunks of whey protein in your cereal. You just eat it. It's freaking delicious. It's protein cereal. Like, how have people not thought of this before? Like, genius. It doesn't have to be Captain Crunch. It can be Fruit Loops. It can be Honey Nut Cheerios. It can be whatever you want. But just so you know, don't go more than a cup, right? So, serving yourself and portioning yourself. If you know you're a binge eater like me, just put the cereal box away after you pour out your cup and go back downstairs, and hopefully, be so tired that you don't come back upstairs to get another cup of Captain Crunch. Just try to like be mentally strong enough to not binge eat on cereal. Just eat enough to satisfy your hunger and then go to bed. You know what I mean? Like, your gains are going to be happy because you're giving it lots of food. At this point, you've had like 5 meals that day, and if you can do that day in and day out, basically you're eating like the perfect diet for a human. So that's the nutrition side, guys. I can explain lots more about nutrition. I could dive into recipes. I could give you guys fun little cookbook things. But we're going to dive into the very last question. Do I take any supplements? So yes, when I first started my fitness journey 2 years ago, my mentor Josh Floyd brought me to our neighborhood supplement giant, which is a ginormous supplement store that carries everything that you could ever imagine. They have like 3 or 4 locations in Colorado. My favorite one is in Centennial, but now it's Westminster. Anyways, I love all the stores, guys. I'm just messing with you. But once you walk in, you're going to be overwhelmed at the like number of products that they have. So I was really thankful to have Josh to like guide me around, and he actually helped me pick out my first supplements. So there's no need to overdo it on supplements. Let me repeat that. There's no need to overdo it on supplements. You don't need 7 different types of little jars in your workout bag. I see people do that all the time. Like, why do you need all that stuff? Like, I take 2 dose. And the first one you already know is whey protein. If you are like me and you don't like to eat meat, and you are confused at how to get protein from plants, just consume whey protein. It's a dairy-based product, but it tastes like cookies, and they have lots of different flavors you can choose from. So that's kind of my first supplement. Second supplement choice is BCAAs, so branched chain amino acids. They're key for muscle recovery. I drink them before, during, and after the gym. I put a scoop of it in my gallon of water, and I drink a gallon of water every day, and the amino acids taste like legit candy apples. Like, my favorite flavor is, it's caramel apple, of course. This one's by NutriAuthority. These guys are actually my brand new sponsors. I'm so excited to share that news with you guys. If you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you've already heard, but NutriAuthority sponsored me, and I have lots of exciting new things coming out for you guys. But anyways, their Amino Factor is their best BCAAs, my favorite BCAAs on the market. It tastes like candy water, and it really satisfies your sweet tooth. Like, if you like candy but you can't eat candy anymore because you just started your fitness journey, well, Amino Factor is great. One of the little pro tips I've heard and tried, it's amazing. Just take a scoop of Amino Factor, put it in the blender with maybe a cup of ice, maybe a little bit of water, blend it up, and you're left with a slushy, and it tastes like deliciousness. It's like an after gym treat or something if you want. Both of these things aren't very expensive. They'll both last you a month to 2 months depending on how frequently you're using it. I personally use about 1 scoop of Amino Factor a day, and then a total of 2 scoops of whey protein a day. So I'll link both of my favorite supplements in the description below so you guys can check it out. You can also use my name, lowercase RACHEL, for a 15% off discount code. They'll actually ship the supplements directly to your house, and if your order is more than $60, you get free shipping. So that's kind of a really awesome little thing from the sponsors. More to come on that, like I said, but I'm here to inspire you to become your greatest version. Basically, I want to help you guys in any way, shape, or form that I can. I know that I'm no professional, and all I'm doing is sharing my own personal fitness journey with you all in hopes that you try it out and figure out what works best for you, and that you figure out what your balance is, your healthy balance, where you spend at least 1 hour a day at the gym, at least 4 days a week. Now, let me just end the video with this little tidbit of information. 1 hour is 4% of your day. If you can devote literally 4% of your entire day to you, you're already doing everything that I'm doing, and what I assume most people would want to be doing for their future selves, for their best health interests. So yeah, guys, let your light shine, be yourselves, and DM me or comment or message me any questions that you have. I'll add them to next week's fitness Q&A. Stay tuned. If you haven't already seen my December progress check video, it's actually posted on my YouTube channel. I'm using my phone to record all of this, guys. I don't have a professional camera yet, so please forgive the quality of any of this, and remember that this is only my 3rd YouTube video, so I'm getting experience. I'm getting better each and every time I do this. I'm excited to get outside of my comfort zone, and I learn just as much as when I teach. Have you ever heard that, teachers learn as they're teaching? I kind of feel like that right now. When I'm at the gym, I worked out with 3 of my best friends last night. We did legs, and I felt amazing. All I was doing was sharing my passion with my best friends, and they were curious to know how it worked and to know how to grow debut. Anyways, I'll see you next week, guys. Peace.